Hi, and thanks so much for joining me for my September luxury beauty favorites. Jumping into skincare, I have lots of questions about skincare. So I've got to say my routine is pretty much the same as the beginning of the year with a few adjustments, but I will throw in some along the way, and of course I will update you maybe in a vlog, I think. But for eyes, I thought I'd mention the combo I've been loving. This is the Rose de May Eye Lift by Chantecaille. So I go in with this first. Again, this is daytime. My evening looks a little bit different. So it's got this applicator. It's not a new product inside, but the exterior is something that they redesigned as well as the applicator. So it's got this metal applicator. You push it down. I use about half a pump. I go underneath as well as above in lifting motions, and it has a really nice effect on the eyes. Lovely way to start the day. And then we've got, of course, the Stress Repair Concentrate Plus. It's very emollient, lasts forever. I just take a little bit and I do sweeping motions like this, up under the eye as well as a little bit above. So you can apply this above the eye as well. And then the ELEMIS Dynamic Resurfacing Facial Pads. I'm going to put a picture here because I cannot find the container. I was going to talk about it in an empties. I don't know what happened to it, but I tried it out because they sent them to me and I really like them. There are 28 in here. It says they are gentle yet effective resurfacing pads. They deliver a measured dose of patented tri-enzyme technology for smoother looking skin. And I really liked this for travel. So I love this. I have one here. The Purifying and Exfoliating Phytoactive Solution. I love this. But traveling with this can be a little bit tricky because I'm still not sure how much I need to take with me. I took the whole bottle when I went to Italy, but those resurfacing pads lets me figure out how many I need, so 2 per day, so I just calculate it that way. So I think for a longer travel, I would purchase those again, the pads, just so I can make sure I have enough for my entire trip and make sure I don't run out. But I also really enjoyed them, so did want to mention that if you wanted to try them. Then starting with primer, I kind of rediscovered this when I did the Hourglass videos, the palettes. It's the Vanish Airbrush Primer by Hourglass. It's a really nice smooth feeling on the skin, and it definitely gets the skin ready for makeup. It just provides a really nice canvas for any other makeup, or if you just want to apply this to have that smoother looking texture to the skin, this is lovely. And then this month I've been really kind of skipping foundation and going in with that, and then these concealers. So it's hard for me to love a concealer. That's why I stick to the same ones over and over again. But I really have been liking these Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Radiant Concealers. I have 2 shades here. I have 8, and I just used 8 really strategically to brighten, and then 8.5. So you can see how the undertones are different based on the swatch, but this is a lovely product, very second skin-like, and it just really works into the skin nicely, evenly. Does a good job of covering up my dark spots without adding too much. So it's got a really nice opacity to it without looking heavy, and that's tricky, especially where I have texture. And I also have it under the eye. Now I powdered under the eye the first time I tried it. I've not been powdering under the eye, and it seems to work better for me because I don't normally powder under the eye to begin with. So I think just any powder under there is going to be visible, but it has done a really nice job under the eye for me as well. So I've got to test this against the Sisley in terms of a heavier duty concealer, because the Complexion Touch Chanel product that I use is more sheer, so I don't know if that's a good comparison, but I think against the Sisley, this might be really interesting to try out. I know many of you have let me know you've tried this product, you love it, and I am also really enjoying it. So I just have primer and concealer strategically placed on my face today. That's it, no foundation, and my skin really likes the feeling of no foundation. There are a few foundations I really like, but I really like no foundation the most. I'm really picky with foundations as well, because if I prefer no foundation feeling, the no foundation feeling, it takes a really special foundation for me to like it, because I also want it to feel like I'm not wearing makeup. This is something not new, Chantecaille's Blur Powder. Oh yeah, so I'm wondering about another powder they're, I think, coming out with, but let me talk about that in a second. And then of course we go in with the Blur, what is this called? I can't believe I forgot the name of this. The Buff and Blur Powder. No, not Buff and Blur Powder. Buff and Blur Brush and the powder. It's late. I'm very tired, so okay, focus. So yes, this powder and this brush, still love these. And then I wanted to talk about the Charlotte Tilbury powder. This one, this Airbrush Brightening Flawless Finish. I have been loving this as well. It's a really nice glowing powder, which also somehow perfects, which is a very difficult balance to strike, because usually if there's a glow, you're going to emphasize texture, it's going to look worse. But somehow they've been able to get a glow in here and also blur. So I just saw little glimpses of a Chantecaille release that's coming up. And there was something about like a perfecting, blurring glow powder, something like that. And they haven't released information as far as I know. So these are just things I've seen in other places. But this is a lovely powder that does the job of glowing and blurring at the same time. So to me, that's pretty magical to be able to do that, because yeah, glow usually translates into emphasizes texture. So that is a very difficult balance. So the Clé de Peau Luminizing Face Enhancer is the only real other product that's not a blush that's done that. Let me think. Is that accurate? Maybe the Rhodial Glass powder I've mentioned before might fit under that category. I've got to think, but this is a very difficult kind of product to get right. So Charlotte Tilbury did a very nice job with this. I don't like it under my eye. I just like it right here in the front. Yeah, it's beautiful. So if you are a my tone, I think this would work well for you. Not I think, it works well for me, but let me know if you are around my tone. If you have the other shade, I'm curious how that will go. I would think it would add color though. So let me know, but this is the one in the light medium or fair medium, and I think they call it white in the description, but it's really very nice. So this is the kind of innovation that I love. It's kind of losing interest in Charlotte Tilbury because they come out with so many little things here and there, and I'm not even sure what they are. But these last two products, the concealer and the powder, concealer and the powder, are things they did really well. Dior Show 032, loving this, as well as the FLORASIS pencil. Although I've got to say, I just purchased some other brow products because I want to try a technique I saw a makeup artist do. I think it was like 3 different brow products, but I really liked the effect. So I'm going to be seeing what they are like and seeing if this is going to change up at all. But so far, still love those. I did try out all 3 of the Hourglass palettes, if you saw that video. And the one that I really have been using, although I like them all for different purposes, the most versatile one is this Elephant palette, because this is the one with the bronzer in it. So of course I didn't apply that bronzer today, but I feel like all of these shades are something that'll be used. So typically in the palettes I picked up from Hourglass in the past, there are only like 1 or 2 colors that I really use up, and then the other ones just kind of sit there. But in this case, the Elephant palette, these are all shades that work on me really well. So aside from the, well, I guess it works well, I just don't use it, the metallic strobe powder, yeah, that's the only one that I probably won't use just because I don't wear highlighter that often. So that will be the only one just because of the product itself. But I also like that there's only 1 highlighter, and that there are 2 finishing powders. We've got Dim Light and Soft Light. These 2, we've got 2 blushes and a bronzer. So I think this is the best palette, especially for medium tone skin. I wish they had put bronzers in the other 2 just for people in different shade ranges, so that you would have some options, but that one's a really great one for medium skin tones. Still love this Valentino blush. This might be in the running for blush of the year. It just fixes everything. So if something is awry with my makeup, or I didn't conceal well enough, or it needs a little bit of blurring, this does the job of a powder and a blush at the same time, and especially the shade here, color corrects for me in the front. So I love this one more than I thought I would. Actually, this is the only Valentino product I have, now that I think of it. I might be wrong, but I can't think of any other Valentino products that I have. It was the packaging that really is something that I didn't really like. It's kind of bold. That's what I want to say. It's bold, and I love understated things that are very simple. And yeah, that's the only reason I haven't probably purchased any more of these blushes. Then I got the question about these 2 palettes. Which one do I prefer? So these are the Chantecaille fall palettes. We have here Cougar, and we also have, I'm going to share the right side up, and we also have Black Jaguar. So if you look at these and you missed those videos, I think I included these with other products. You have one that's quite neutral, one that is got some really interesting shades in here. So when you ask which one's my favorite, I have to say it's really hard to say because I love them both. They're so different, and that's what I love, is that Chantecaille came out with palettes that are so distinct and so different from each other that they don't compete. They are really for different purposes. So this one is a little bit harder to be more subtle with. Unless you stick with this color and then this color maybe, just stick to those colors. You can keep it more subtle by using this as a one and done, and this is an eyeliner, or this is a one and done, and then this is an eyeliner. I see this more as like a party kind of look, which is stunning, stunning. I love the shades in there. I think they perform beautifully. This one is also beautiful. This is a very classic kind of palette, except I'm gonna say for this shade. This makes it a little bit different than your other classic shades or classic palettes out there. And it's a very small, minor kind of detail, but it really makes this interesting. So it's less predictable, but still very classic, still very soft. And today I went a little bit more glamorous with it, just a little bit. I really wanted to apply it the last way I applied it, but I thought, let me try something different. And it was really quick. Like, this was a super, super quick eye. So in the Get Ready With Me, you'll see how fast this was because I just went in with this all over the lid. I took this really close to the lash line, like I carved out a shape with this on the top and bottom, went in with this, just kind of swiped that on, patted this on as well, and that was it. Well, I put a little bit of eyeliner and then mascara, of course, but you'll see. So I feel like this one is more versatile than this, but this also has some really unique qualities to it, like the shades I think are stunning. So you have to love these shades. So I would recommend both either. I know a lot of you picked up both of them and are happy with both of them as well. So these I recommend highly, really easy to use too. Even though the colors are bold here in this palette, really easy to use. These classic colors, really easy to use. And that's consistent with my experience with Chantecaille makeup. Very easy to use, beautiful results. Okay, this is the month of beautiful palettes. I have a Dior palette here that I was a little bit surprised that I ended up liking as much as I did. It's a 509 Golden Bouquet. And this one, I was afraid you weren't gonna be able to see this on my eyes. And it's more about the finish. Kind of like their Organza palette, that was really all about the finish, very little color payoff there, but it reflected the light really beautifully. This is very similar in that effect. Now this color in the middle really pulls it together. I think without that color, you probably wouldn't even be able to see this on camera on my eyes, but in person is a different story. It's a really beautiful, enhancing kind of eye look because it's really just reflecting the light in a really gentle way. So it brings a lot of attention to the eye area because you're kind of looking to see what's on the eye, but it's not super obvious. So very specific kind of person will like this makeup, not someone who wants to see the makeup as evident because it's a very subtle, very beautiful look. I really love this one, but it's not for everyone. Very classic, very understated, very elegant kind of palette. So if that sounds like something you would like, you like neutrals, really beautiful, especially if you want to go in with like a bold lip and you're not sure what to do with the eye. I love a really understated eye like this, and then a bold lip I think is beautiful. Speaking of neutral palettes, I've now tried 3 of the 4 Tweed palettes, and I really wanted to slow down on those because I feel like those were all over the internet and people were tired of seeing them. So I kind of waited to feature them. But out of the 3 I've tried, this is my favorite one so far. It's number 4, and this is a very neutral Lovers palette. Beautiful shades in here. I love the finishes of these Tweed palettes because they are satin, but a really soft satin, like the softest kind of satin that you can get. I really love that finish. So that's one of the reasons I love these palettes. And they're really easy to use as well. This is one of the prettiest neutral palettes I've used, and we traveled a little bit, and this is the one that I took with me. I don't love this pink shade so much, but I love these other taupey brown shades. Really beautiful. So if you wanted to pick up one, I think if you're a neutral lover, 04 is the one that you're gonna want. So sometimes I don't have enough time to fully put an eye on. So I've been using this, and this is amazing in a pinch. Also, if you don't know how to do evening makeup, or struggle or don't want to take a lot of time with evening makeup, not that this is evening only, but it is appropriate for something like that if you want a smoky eye and you don't want to spend a lot of time blending. Or you can go in with a sheer layer of this for the day, which is what I've been doing. I've been using this using this in the day. This is Zora by Lucent Eldridge, and these do not move. So once you get this on, it doesn't move, it doesn't crease. It just looks beautiful the whole time you're wearing this until you remove it. So Lucent Eldridge really does an amazing job with her makeup if you have not tried it yet. I was lucky enough to receive some product, so I got to see a range of her products. Everything is done with the highest quality. Of course, I wouldn't expect anything less. She's really detailed with her makeup application why can't I speak? And as it seems, she is detail oriented with everything. I can really see her personality, her hand in these products, because they are done really well. This surprised me. Well, I didn't know what to expect with it, but the Tower 28 mascara has done better than so many mascaras I've tried in the recent past. Actually, I'm gonna say about 90% of the mascaras I don't love. It's really hard for me to love a mascara, and I love the CHANTECAILLE mascara. I love it. And that one has the peptides in it, so that's another reason I love that one. But this is a close second, Tower 28, and that's a huge statement because, like I said, I love my CHANTECAILLE mascara, but this is a very close second. It applies beautifully. This brush just hugs the eye so well and grabs the lashes, like each and every lash so well, deposits evenly, lengthens, gives volume, separates at the same time. It lifts the lashes. All those claims that other mascaras have and they don't deliver, this one delivers. I'm so impressed with this. They did send this to me. So when they send me product, there's no expectation that I even post about their products or anything. They just want to send me product so I can try it. And this one is amazing. So if you wanted to try it, and is especially geared towards sensitive eyes. So if you have issues with mascara, you might want to give this one a try because they had sensitive eyes in mind with this. So well done, Tower 28. And I've tried a lot of mascaras. These dual-sided, so what they call them? Dual-sided, yeah, dual eye pencils by Esem are really beautiful, and they have come in so handy with all of these Chanel palettes and the Dior palettes as well. So when I have more color, it's a little bit tricky to pull for like what eyeliner am I gonna use, but I reach for these every time because they have this deeper shade as well as a lighter shade. Now, I think it's intended to build the shape with the deeper shade and then go on top with the lighter shade. So you can almost do an eyeshadow look with it, which I have not tried yet. But I love the deeper shade for on top and then the lighter shade for in the waterline, because these lighter shades are not so stark. They're actually quite gentle. So you get like a little reflective quality from the light, no chunky particles though, but it's almost a little bit translucent too. So it's not so intense. So the colors that I have here that I've been using are, oh, I just lost the lid here, whoops. Rosé and Aubergine. And then we've got one that looks almost like it, but it's not the same, Luster and Amethyst. We also have Fire and Garnet. Oh, that was pretty with the Tweed palette 3. I think that was the one. And then we had Gold and Brown. And then we also have Brilliance and Sapphire. So navy eyeliners can kind of be difficult to come by, but that's beautiful. And that silver in the waterline was lovely as well. I really enjoy the Esem eyeliners. They're very nice. Then I had a chance to try the Merit Bronzer, new to me product. And this one is in Sen. This is the deeper of the two that I tried. And I had a question about, is this natural looking on the skin? And it's probably the most natural looking bronzer I've tried because it's a balmy texture. It's more translucent. So it naturally is a little bit more natural looking. You guys see through it to the skin. I have it on today too. And I've been using this daily with my SPF. So I put this on the exterior because my SPF kind of looks like a mask. So I put this on to take that mask darkness away from it. Really lovely, very comfortable on the skin. As I mentioned, I had a chance to try Lisa Eldridge products, including her lip products, which I know she's really well known for, and a couple of them really stood out to me. So Velvet Blush is a gorgeous shade. It's just one of the best shades I've ever tried for me. Provides color but isn't too bold, just a really pretty, lovely fall shade. I think this one really makes me think of fall because it's got such a richness to it, plus that velvet finish is beautiful, but it's also really hydrating, so there's nothing drying about these. And then we also have Spirited Away. This is the one that said it would brighten the entire face, the complexion. I love those kinds of lip products that don't just look pretty, but also make everything else look even better. So this is that kind of shade. When I read that, I got really excited and I tried it and I thought, yes, that's accurate. I love the transformative quality of this lipstick. Again, not just on the lips, but the entire face. So that's Spirited Away. It's in a more sheer formula. I have here a Dior lip as well. We had a good lip month here. This is the one in 1947. This is the one I'm wearing today. It's just such a pretty shade. It's like a My Lips But Better, but a little bit warmer. So I love this for just any look because it's, like I said, very close to my lip color that I think it will work with pretty much everything. And this is a lovely formula. This is in their Velvet formula. Oh yeah, I did go in with this. Forgot to mention Clé de Peau, of course, in the corner of my eyes. Oh yeah, and then favorite brushes, I'll just list them below because they're always the same. It's the Rowan blush brush, Rowan powder brush. I've got my Shiseido brush for foundation. Oh yeah, I love the Merit brush for the bronzer. It's a really good one for their bronzer. I feel like I talk about them all the time, but every once in a while someone asks what that brush is and I forget that some people are here for the very first time. So I'll make sure to list those below. Okay. So these, you might be surprised that these made into the favorites because they're such an interesting product and not one that I was totally sold on when I first talked about them, but I have been carrying this around in my bag as I said I would, and I love the hydrating factor here. So it's unlike any other lip product I've tried in that the hydration lasts and lasts and lasts. So there is a stickiness when I add this initially and I have that vinyl finish where it's like shinier, my hair will stick to it. But then as it kind of wears away, that vinyl finish doesn't stay, even just as I'm talking, going throughout the day without eating anything. It will kind of fade away, and then as it does that, the color remains, but the stickiness doesn't remain because it's not vinyl appearing anymore. It's not shiny appearing. It's just like a, not a lip stain, but it's like, it's hard to explain, but it's like a liquid lip. Not matte either though, but it's definitely not shiny anymore. And that's when I think it looks really nice and my hair doesn't stick to it at that point. So I like after it has been worn for a while. I like it after initial application, after a couple of hours actually. And the fact that it remains really lip conditioning, I love that. So actually I've been wearing this one in the evenings for a little bit more conditioning. Yeah, I can't say I have anything else like this in terms of a lip product that continues to condition and keep the lips nice and moisturized for a long time. But I have been enjoying this, and this is going back to my bag because I like the way my lips feel, and I'll be applying this in the evenings just because I really like the conditioning aspect of these Byredo. Oh, I didn't even say what these are. These are the Byredo liquid lipstick vinyls. Yeah. Oh, and this is in Fantôme, the clear one, and this, I love this color. It's flushed. It's kind of a cool version of my lip color. I do want to mention I've been loving this as well, the Victoria Beckham Brightening Pencil. I don't know if I mentioned it last time, but it is a little bit more evident or stark versus something like, oh, I forgot to take, did I take that one? I have another Esom pencil that's a black on one side and then it's platinum on the other side. I think if I find it, I'm going to insert the swatch here because I used that platinum one on this side, and then I applied the Victoria Beckham on this side, and the platinum has a little bit more translucent quality to it. It reflects the light in a really pretty way. So I just wanted to show you the difference between those two. And then hopefully this swatch I'm showing you shows the difference between the two. So if you wanted something brightening in the waterline, but this is too stark for you, meaning the Victoria Beckham is too stark, you might want to look at this Black Platinum Dual Eyeliner by Esom, because the platinum is really pretty in the waterline too. And for my fragrance, I have the Fragrance Du Bois Cavour. Aside from the bottle being stunning, the fragrance is beautiful as well. The notes are saffron, davana, geranium, cinnamon, rose absolute, orange flower ylang, jasmine, patchouli, labdanum, sandalwood, and scents. I think the geranium and the orange flower are those really fresh notes in there. And then you've got something like sandalwood that grounds it, makes it a little bit more complex, as well as the cinnamon and the labdanum and the incense, but those are not overpowering. They just anchor the fragrance, but really beautiful in case you were wanting to try something a little bit different. But that is it for my luxury beauty favorites for September. I almost forgot what month this was. Those are my luxury beauty favorites for September. Of course, I did a get ready with me with this, so that is coming up next. My hair, if you have questions, I use the Dyson. You can see how it nicely kind of relaxes. The curls relax after a little while, and I think is a little bit nicer, but that's how I've had questions about my hair recently, and that's why I think it's shiny, is because of that Dyson, because it kind of does a blowout for you with the air wrap. So if you've been wondering what's going on with my hair, how I've been styling it, it's the Dyson air wrap. Save your pennies if that's something you wanted, because that's a really great savings. I bought mine full price, but definitely take advantage of the promos that should be coming up in a couple of months if you were interested in that Dyson. And that has been selling out, which tells you how good that is. I think I mentioned it, for it to be at that price point and to sell out. But that is it for my September favorites. Let me know what you've been loving. There were so many lovely products that recently came out. I would love to know, what did I miss? Or do you have questions about anything that I picked up? But that is it for today's video, so please take care of each other, stay well. If you enjoyed this video, if you learned something, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe,